You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Today is Tuesday, June 8th, 2021, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, we're saying goodbye to Clarence Williams III, star of the Mod Squad and Star Trek Deep Space Nine guest star. Crowdfunding kicks off for 1982, the Greatest Geek Year, a documentary covering, among others, The Wrath of Khan in time for its 40th anniversary. And I've got this week's Trek Trivia. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. Star Trek Deep Space Nine guest star Clarence Williams III, who played Jem'Hadar Ometeklan in the fourth season episode To the Death, passed away on June 4th following a battle with colon cancer, as reported by Entertainment Weekly. Williams, who was 81, was well known for his role as undercover cop Link Hayes in the Emmy-nominated series The Mod Squad, which ran on ABC from 1968 to 1973. Williams' turn as Ometeklan was a memorable one for his interactions with Avery Brooks' Captain Sisko, as they forged a temporary alliance to fight a band of renegade Jem'Hadar soldiers. After vowing to kill the Defiant's captain once the alliance is no longer necessary, Ometeklan relents when Sisko risks his own life to save the Jem'Hadar leader. Also notable was his character's murder of Weyoun, which led to the canon understanding that the Founders simply cloned a new Weyoun when the previous one died. Clarence Williams III served as a paratrooper with the 101st Airborne Division before turning to acting. He built a strong reputation on stage as a Tony-nominated Broadway performer in the 1960s, before moving his career to Hollywood and landing his role as Hayes in The Mod Squad. His big screen debut came in 1984, playing an abusive father to Prince's character, the Kid, in Purple Rain. LeVar Burton, who directed To the Death, spoke about the decision to cast Williams as Ometeklan in the book Star Trek Deep Space Nine Companion, telling how Williams was his first choice, and adding, "He's an old friend of mine, but we'd never worked together before. This was just an opportunity to say, hey CW, you want to come and do this thing?" Williams is survived by his daughter Jamie Phillips and sister Sandra Pugh. Please join us here at Daily Star Trek News in sending condolences to his family. Next year, on June 4th, 2022, Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan will celebrate the 40th anniversary of its release. As the anniversary approaches, there's a new documentary on the horizon. 1982, the Greatest Geek Year, plans to honor The Wrath of Khan and other great films from 1982, and the production team is looking for your support in a new Kickstarter campaign. Trek Report brought us news of the film, along with some insight from one of the producers of the documentary, well-known author, filmmaker, and Trekspert, Mark A. Altman. Not to be confused with In Search of Tomorrow, the new documentary from creator VC focusing on science fiction films of the 1980s. 1982, the Greatest Geek Year, will look into films of all genres from 1982, bringing together such classics as E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Tron, Poltergeist, Rambo First Blood, Rocky III, Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal, Conan the Barbarian, Blade Runner, Airplane 2, the sequel, Halloween 3, you get the idea. It turns out 1982 was a pretty great year for movies. On the proposed timing of the documentary's release, Altman said, "With 2022 being the 40th anniversary of Wrath of Khan, I realized it was time to do something while many of the key creators were still with us." Citing film critic Scott Mance, fellow writing partner Tom Vitale, and notable Star Trek documentary filmmaker Roger Lay Jr. as partners on the project, Altman said, "There's never been a better time to shine the spotlight on the movies of 1982. To help cover the costs of filming, licensing footage, insurance, and more, the producers have turned to fans with a Kickstarter campaign that launched last week on June 4th, Wrath of Khan's 39th anniversary. Initially reluctant to use the crowdfunding platform, but wanting to make the June 4th, 2022 deadline, Altman agreed with his co-producers that a crowdfunding campaign would give the documentary the best chance for release in just a year's time. The goal of the Kickstarter campaign is set at $125,000. Starting at just $5, backers will have the opportunity to earn rewards such as digital access to behind-the-scenes video, copies of the film, enamel pins, premiere tickets, and more, all the way up to a co-producer credit in the film. For more details on the campaign, backer rewards, and of course to contribute, visit Kickstarter.com. I've got Trek Trivia Tuesday in just a moment, but first, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. If there's something that's interfering with your happiness, or something that's standing between you and your personal goals, BetterHelp can help. BetterHelp is not a crisis line, they're not a self-help service. What they are is professional counseling done securely online. When you join BetterHelp, they'll match you with a licensed therapist skilled in what you need. You can message them anytime, get timely and thoughtful responses in return, and you can also schedule weekly video or phone sessions, all in a way that suits you. For me, that means using their mobile app to chat with my counselor, but you can use them just as well in your browser, or like I said, through video chats or the phone. I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a Daily Star Trek News listener, you can get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/DSTN. And now, it's Trek Trivia Tuesday. Did you know the legendary starship USS Enterprise NCC 1701, no bloody A, B, C, or D, was commanded on screen in the Prime universe by only a handful of captains? The ship had only 5 captains from its launch in 2245 through its destruction more than 40 years later, when it was destroyed above the Genesis planet in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. So now, a trivia question for you. Everyone can name Captain James T. Kirk, probably the most famous captain in Enterprise's history, but can you name the Enterprise's other 4 captains? Find out the answer on Friday's episode of Daily Star Trek News. And finally, don't forget to enter our giveaway. 3 grand prize winners will win a package that includes a real-life, miniature, teeny tiny batleth. It's a no-touch tool. Plus also a code for Star Trek Online, a Tier 6 Klothos-class Miracle Worker cruiser, that's a starship, and some other goodies as well. There's also 10 runners-up that'll win a Klingon personnel package. You can find out more details about that, all the prizes, and of course how to enter at dailystartreknews.com/Star Trek Online. Once again, that's dailystartreknews.com/Star Trek Online for all the details. Entries close this Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Time, so be sure to get in there soon, and good luck. Well, that's it for today's Daily Star Trek News from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, and written by Chris Peterson and Jack Brown, with trivia by Ben Shikowski. Today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling at betterhelp.com/DSTN. I'm back tomorrow with more of the Star Trek news you need to know, and this week in Trek history. I'm Alison Pitt. Live long and prosper.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.